get in. And now your back's against the wall a little bit.
You're exactly right. You nailed it perfectly. And so many ways to go at it when you're on the road. You think to yourself, well, if we start on defense, we blitz them early, try and create a big play. If we start on offense, we throw the big pass downfield. In this case, they said, forget all of that. Let's do it on special teams and try and catch them off guard with an onside kick unsuccessfully.
Now the first carry for Dalvin Cook. The 20. And he's free going down the left side. It's a foot race. A big play there on the first play of the game. 26 yards. They need about the length of the football here on first and goal. They'll run for it with Cook. And he'll get it. Dalvin Cook taking it in. And the Vikings have taken a first quarter lead. Nice job of polishing off that drive. And all the credit there goes to that play.
Yeah, it certainly does, because after that big play, I think resistance almost went futile at that point, didn't it? And the very next play, they come right back, quick, fast, and in a hurry, and put it in the end zone.
Dan Bailey to kick off for Minnesota.
Bailey now to kick it away after the touchdown. Takes this about 5 yards deep. And the decision to come out of the end zone is going to cost him 5 yards as he's taken down right at the 20.
That's not great. That's not at their own 20-yard line. That was more than twice. Look up. 666 Park Avenue.
Rodgers will break the huddle and bring the pack up first and 10 at the 20. And he'll drop here to throw. He sets up the screen to Jones. And he'll be tackled at the 23 after a gain of 3. 3 yards to gain there, second down. Now the man from UTEP, this is Aaron Jones. And he'll take it forward for about 5 up to the 28-yard line.
He was brought down at the 28-yard line.
Off the play fake to Jones. Here's Rodgers. Eluding the pressure right. On the run, he'll let this go. This is taken in. It's complete.
A very early momentum changer there. Actually a dream killer for the defense, because they forced a third down. Felt like they had a good chance to get off the field defensively, and then they got hit with that big play.
So the big play changes the complexion of things. Here's first and 10 just outside the 30. Rodgers slow is taken in by Jones. And brought down, but not before they're inside the 25. Back-to-back nice plays, 12 yards that time, and a first down. On play action, Rodgers. Oh, he had 6 points in his hands there. Couldn't hang on. Second down.
Even at a ton of pressure in his face, it just shows how difficult it is to pick apart his own defense. Those guys are sitting back, and they're not playing receivers as much as they're playing wide as the quarterback when he delivers the ball.
Here's a throw out wide, complete to his running back right side. They get 6. That'll leave them with 3rd and 4. They face a 3rd and 4 after that last completion gets them 6. Third down. They'll run it for the first time with Williams. And he gets the first down yardage before he's brought down just outside the 10 at the 11. First down. They stick to the ground game on first down. It's Williams. And he dropped it about the 11 after only a yard.
Taken down at the 11-yard line. 1 yard gain. Brings up 7th and 9.
On play action, it's Rodgers. Steps to his right. Got him in. And it's Adams. Touchdown, Green Bay.
Touchdown.
Devontae Adams there to make the grab. And the Packers move back within a couple of the lead.
He admitted the crimes, Christie said. And so what am I supposed to do as a prosecutor? I mean, if a guy hires a prostitute to seduce his brother-in-law. Oh, it's his brother-in-law. That's what he said. His brother-in-law. Brother-in-law. Okay. I got confused. And then videotapes it and then sends the videotape to his sister to attempt to intimidate her from testifying before a grand jury. Do I really need any more justification than that? Holy shit.
But it wasn't to intimidate. That's his interpretation. That stuff goes on divorces all the time.
And now they'll empty the backfield here as they elect to go for 2.
That's why he was thrown into prison, because he wasn't doing it. He was doing it to show
shotgun now for Rodgers. And they don't get it. They tried for the two-point conversion there, but unsuccessful. I know it's still just the first half, but we'll see if that 2 points looms large later.
I would have kicked it. And I know that they were trying to equal the score, but sometimes you kind of get seduced into that. It's the first half. Kick the extra point and continue to play so you don't have to chase points later.
First of all, if you find yourself in a Bridgewater, New Jersey motel, fucked. Run. As the camera rolls,
Cousins gives way to Cook. And he'll get this down only to about the 46. 3 yards on the pickup there, and it'll be second down.
Well, to me, that's taking a big gamble defensively because down the line, you see, that's normally something you see down near the goal line. Because now, if they decide to go play action, something should be open there, and I think open big.
So maybe that's something that gets filed away for later.
I think without a doubt, you write it down, and if you see that look at a later date, go ahead and take your shot.
And he'll get it down on the play to the 37. 9 yards to pick up there, and it's a first down. Well, they're making a real first-quarter statement with a run game, no doubt.
For those who remember old-school football, running it, establishing things, seeing backs find holes, get through them, they got to like what they're seeing from this unit so far. Right now, they've decided to, as you said, establish the run game, and they've been successful doing it.
That one good for 37 yards. Now the defense going to use the first of their timeouts. They'll have 2 remaining as we step aside here in this first quarter.
Save America. He was our leader. And then the Davos group, he said 3 years ago, I will destroy
They'll run with Cook. And that'll hurt the average a bit as this time they're able to get him behind the line. A loss of a full 3 yards, and now it's second down. Touchdown Vikings. A 3-yard touchdown pass. And the Vikings are going to add on to their lead.
because it trumps trade deals.
A lot of people might call this backyard football. Sometimes just understanding who you got out wide and who you're going to throw it to. Give him an opportunity to go up and make a play, even when contested. Yeah, looks like that one worked out pretty well. The trust factor, in effect.
They'll try to run it here. And he is into the end zone to bump the lead up 2 more. So 2 successful 2-point tries now for them.
And you know what it does? It gives you a boost, a huge one for your team because, hey, you're dominating them now. They can't stop you either scoring touchdowns or 2-point conversions. But how about the defense? You don't know what to do at this stage. You can't stop them in any direction.
Their own 25-yard line.
We accept China as our master. I have the goddamn article. This is Tracy the freaking dude right here. Watch the Post.
Who's saying that quote? Who's that quote?
Here, I'll give it to you. This is the Washington Post.
The Packer offense ready to get their next drive underway.
Just like I said, AT&T
Throwing on first down is Rodgers. This is going to be caught. He won the fight for the football. And he gets this one just shy of the 40. They'll mark him down at the 39. The first play of the drive going for 14 and also going for a first down. So from the 39 now, they'll come up on a 1st and 10. Working from the gun, Rodgers. And that coverage terrific there as that's knocked out and incomplete. There to knock that one away defensively, Eric Kendricks. So line of scrimmage still with 39 on 2nd and 10. Throwing again, Rodgers. That's complete to his running back, Taylor. And this is going to turn into another first down as the tackle is made at the Vikings 39. 22 yards there, a first down. And the result here, a pickup of 8. Leaves him with 2 to go on 2nd down. Harrison Smith on the tackle. 8 yards. Now a play fake. Rodgers. Man, he hits him in stride. And this is going to turn into another first down as the tackle is made at the Vikings 18. So from inside the 20, here's 1st and 10 at the 18. And now it's down there, but it's incomplete.
He did a fine job there not hitting him before the ball arrived, and I've got to tell you, you can often mistime that play because of the angles of approach. When you're going to get him, sometimes you panic as well and think, I've got to be there right now. Instead, in this case, timed it perfectly and knocked it free.
And now they're inside the 10 as he's brought down at the 9. 9 yards, and that leaves him just short, so it'll be third and less than a yard. Rodgers going to try and throw on third down. And Adams has it complete. And he's able to get this down to the 5-yard line before he's out of bounds. Back-to-back receptions for him, and it's another first down. First and goal, and they got to be thinking a chance to get right back into this football game.
Most people say, I want to ban 100 from onside. That's the sign of an
Rodgers to throw once more. This pass caught at the 4. And he'll be brought down right on the edge of the goal line at about the 1-yard line. They'll contain him to just 4. Second down. They'll try and run it in with Jones. They try to get the nose of the football across to no avail, and now it's third and goal. On play action. Now Rodgers being chased out left. Got a man open. It's Adams. Touchdown, Green Bay. Devontae Adams with his second touchdown here in this first half. And the Packers are back within a score. So now Rodgers will lead the Packers up to go for 2. They're going to try and run. And he'll get in for the 2 points, and in so doing, cut the deficit to 2 points. 16. Packers. Boy, they're down only 1 score. Still first half, but they're going to line up for the onside kick. Oh, I think the Packers got it. Yep, Green Bay football. So the onside kick is recovered. And, you know, I always thought, Charles, as someone who didn't play these positions, that going over the middle as a receiver or trying to recover an onside kick, those are 2 very tough things to do.
It takes a lot of fortitude to put yourself in that position, but you have to do it in order to help your team win.
Unable to recover it.
Ice core samples, okay, all over the Antarctic and the Arctic. They've done mud core samples in all over the world, but mainly in Siberia and Wales for some reason.
Jamie, I hope you Google it.
I have got some decent stuff to pull up, but he's not better right now.
So what happens is they can go back 20,000, 100,000, 200,000 years, at least in the ice, and they know that they've also done spectrometers in the stone. They can scan it till it was there. Carbon dioxide was over 500 times stronger in the time of the T-Rex. Okay, in the Jurassic Age. That's why plants grew so fast, things were so big. There was a higher oxygen level. Just like Mars lost its atmosphere, used to have an ocean, they've now gone and proven. It lost its atmosphere. It's a smaller planet, couldn't hold it. The truth is the Earth's losing its atmosphere. So what's crazy is we come right along at this time, pump up all of this juice and all this carbon that was produced on the surface with plants and animals that ran down in cracks into the Earth. We're now pumping out all that carbon saved from millions of years ago and actually terraforming the planet, putting more carbon dioxide in that we actually need right at this time. Like aliens figure this out or something.
But hold, please. Isn't carbon dioxide responsible for an increase in the temperature of the Earth?
But they said that we would have a 7 increase. They said that by 2013, all the LA would be flooded and New York would be flooded. All that's lies.
Okay, but let's forget about what they said in the past. Mm-hmm. What they're saying now is that carbon dioxide increase is responsible for an increase in the temperature of the Earth.
Which we hope it does. Because
we hope it increases the temperature of the Earth?
The last ice age.
Hold on.
Joe, the last ice age
but the increase in the temperature of the Earth is responsible for the increase in hurricanes, the frequency and the power of the hurricanes.
If you look up the spectrum in the last 100 years, hurricanes have gotten weaker. That's all media hype. Let me just tell you.
Oh, Jesus.
Joe, I swear to God. I can prove all this to you. This is so huge for your audience.
Are you a carbon dioxide salesman?
Listen, well, they always say I get money from oil companies. I'm not. But can I please tell you what's going on?
Yes, please do.
You are a carbon-based life form. Let me show you what I came here with in my notes. I have right here in my notes the carbon conspiracy that is specifically wanted to get into here with you in my notes, because this is everything.
Are you a climate change denier?
Well, see, imagine how that's how they use that term.
Right.
Are you a climate change denier? It's like a 9/11 denier.
Right.
No, the towers got blown up. Our government had prior warning and had been funding Al-Qaeda, and all that came out later in Senate reports. and the 28 pitches.
Let's not go there just now, because we're going to go down a rabbit hole.
That's true, but let's go to carbon. I agree with you there. Okay, what is Joe Rogan made up out of?
Carbon.
Okay.
Carbon-based life form. Tree stuff?
Carbon.
Yeah, but carbon-based life forms. It's most of
the whole planet. And so this is the carbon cycle. This is in the mainline textbooks.
I understand.
So just like they come out and assault reality now and say a little boy is biologically a girl. I don't care if he grows up wants to be a girl.
Rabbit hole. Let's not go down these.
But I'm saying it's not science. They go, the science is settled. There's not two genders.
Okay.
Fucking S.
Okay, hold on. Let's not go down that road. If you want to go down that road in the future, we will.
I'll do it.
I want you to talk about carbon. I don't want to get off track here because isn't there a delicate balance with the temperature on Earth and the rising sea levels and the melting of the ice caps? This has all been established by a lot of
they say the science is settled. It's not.
But very concerned environmentalists have said that an increase in the temperature of the Earth could be disastrous for human civilization.
It's power grab.
Are you sure it's a power grab?
I'm absolutely.
But how do you know that it's not all? How do you know that?
Because they're arrogant. And they've all written white papers on it that I've read and I could give you.
White papers.
Yeah, it's not what you see in the news. They're called white papers. And Joe, just like Joe,
this is why people get banned from the internet. These kind of conversations.
We better ban it right now. Let's not ban it. I'll throw that out. Let's just not.
Certainly not ban the
listen,
YouTube page.
Let me tell you the story.
Fantastic, by the way.
What?
Your YouTube page.
Thank you. Let me tell you this right now.
It'll be up for another 24
hours. They have called
hours.
in the European Union for the arrest of scientists that question the cause of anthropogenic warming or if it's man-made.
Okay, but there is a contributing factor. Scientifically, it's been proven that increased carbon dioxide has an effect on the temperature of the Earth. Do you agree with that?
It depends on the models they use. Sometimes actually more carbon dioxide can cause a cooling effect, but generally can cause a heating effect. It depends on potash in the atmosphere, volcanic ejections at the time, and also solar maximum and minimum.
But you have
sunspot activity is the main generator of planetary climate.
But if you had a giant swath of scientists that are examining carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, would you agree that the majority of them believe that it's a contributing factor to warming of the
Joe, it's a mantra where they say the majority of scientists agree that climate change is caused by humans. And I agree with climate change. The only thing that's constant is change. Of course the climate's changing. What I'm telling you is carbon dioxide was 50 to 500 times, depending on the time period, higher millions of years ago than it is now.
Right, but you also realize that was
before we got hit by an asteroid. What do you think the motivation is for them to present the evidence in this way? Like you said, this is a fraud and everything. Because I've heard you talk about this before, what do you think their goal is by linking all of this climate change to man-made activity? What's the goal?
The goal is a centralized world government that can then monitor all carbon and control it as a toxic bad thing. Your carbon, it makes you bad. That didn't work, so now it's, you have a cold, you're dirty with COVID, we've got to track you and tax you and control you. So the new thing is COVID to cut the carbon footprint, and they admit that.
Before we go down the COVID rabbit hole,
The
environmentalists are not in bed with the industrialists. The environmentalists they're not in bed with all these people that think that they can
select the team you want to join. Start your season with recommended settings. If you wish to change roles or adjust options, use the tiles on the left.
How so?
All right, Joe, here's the thing. I understand this and you're a smart guy, and I understand you want to go over each piece of this. Let's go through.
Yeah, well, we have to.
I agree. Let's go through each piece.
But understand, you understand that the way you talk, and I enjoy the way you talk.
It's fast.
But the way you talk is fast, and you go on these long tangents, and then you go to frogs being gay, and a lot of things happen. I want to do
people
it.
Because I'm putting a record out.
Yes, but I want to do it step by step.
All right, let's do this. Let's do this.
But most people, the vast majority, here we got here. BP commits $100 million to fund new emissions reductions projects.
Well, let me just go back for a second.
Okay.
I appreciate you backing me up.
Yes.
Let me break down.
Are frogs gay?
You want to get to the frog stuff now?
Connect it all.
That is, by the way.
Why do I feel like I'm stoned? I haven't smoked my pot.
Yeah, I wish
Hey, if he's not going to smoke it, I'm going to.
God, it's sober October. I have 6
break
days
the
left.
goddamn rule and then go an extra day.
I cannot. I'm like George Washington.
Well, on election night, we're going to get hammered, right?
Election night, I'm getting hammered.
Well, I'm going to pop in.
You can pop in. But we've told everybody now that we're doing a live.
No, we're not.
Kyle Kalinske, Tim Dillon.
Yeah.
Me, Alex Jones going to pop in live.
It's going to be fun.
It's live, so while you're watching the world burn, live. Yeah.
All right, Joe, here's the thing. It's just like, let me explain to you, because I love you. And, dude, it's just like when you said, what's the AT&T deal? And I went, look it up.
But listen, we did look it up, and we found
this is... Let me get my brain focused here for a minute. Let me just try to explain it. I've literally interviewed probably, let's not exaggerate, 200 top scientists, from petroleum geologists to astrophysicists to astronauts to quantum mechanics to petroleum.
Buckle up, because I have two.
I know.
I'm a moron.
I know.
Okay?
You're a moron?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Yeah, trust me.
Joe, you're a smart guy, and I'm not. That's his cover. He is smart. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right.
I'm a smart moron.
Yeah, right. Okay, let me tell you what's going on. I'm going to say it again. You can go to any major study. Just type in. Carbon dioxide levels were hundreds of times higher in Earth's early past.
Well, I understand that, but also I understand...
Wait. You can look at the ocean models then.
Yes.
You can look at the ocean models.
Right.
And it's true, the oceans did cover more than they do now.
Alex Jones, human beings weren't alive 65 million years ago, and the environment wasn't compatible for us.
We put out a fraction when we hadn't developed yet.
Right, well, we were moles.
We had, but shrews.
Shrews, yeah.
But my point is, you're right.
Yeah.
Is that
last time CO2 was this high, humans didn't exist. The last time there was as much carbon dioxide, CO2 in the earth, CO2 levels are far higher now than they've been for any time during the past. And oil, a single CO2 molecule can remain in the atmosphere. What'd you do? Oh, I see. I understand. Oh, okay. So let's just go to what this says. And what is this paper that's is this climatecentral.org? Okay. The last time there was this much carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere, modern humans didn't exist. Megatooth sharks prowled the oceans, blah, blah, blah. All right. As we near the record for the highest CO2 concentrations in human history, 400 parts per million, climate scientists worry about where we were then and where we're rapidly headed now. According to the data gathered by Mauna Loa Observatory in Hawaii, dope spot, the 400 ppm mark may briefly be exceeded this month when CO2 typically hits a seasonal peak.
Sure, and I've had top scientists on, I've had climatologists on about the Keeling curve. I can tell you all this.
Threshold, according to Ralph Keeling, the researcher. Carbon dioxide is the most important long-lived global warming gas, and once it's emitted by burning fossil fuels,
it helps us keep our atmosphere.
Hold please. Once it's emitted by burning fossil fuels such as coal and oil, a single CO2 molecule can remain in the atmosphere for hundreds of years. Global CO2 emissions reached a record high of 35.6 billion tons in 2012, up 2.6% from 2011. Carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases warm the planet by absorbing the sun's energy and preventing heat from escaping back into space, which means it enhances the atmosphere, right?
But the sea levels didn't go up like they said.
Well, aren't they melting? But it's a...
Al Gore said by 2013...
Al Gore.
Okay, Joe, but listen, this is one guy's take.
I know,
I've read the science...
flying around.
I know. You found a guy admitting that it used to be higher than it is now. I'm telling you, it used to be way higher than it is now. This is...
Right, but then the asteroid hit the Yucatan, killed all the dinosaurs, changed the entire atmosphere
I don't want to...
of the planet.
With a dark winter.
Yeah, it was very bad for everything.
Caused by atmospheric dust.
For a long fucking time.
One major volcano, like Mount St. Helens, they estimated, put out more dust than decades of human dust.
Yes.
And human dust is what helps cause nuclei to form to cause storms. So we are affecting our environment. But most of the astrophysicists and most of the physicists I've talked to, most of the climatologists I've talked to, they have broken down that the sun, by magnitude, is 98% of the driver of what happens. That's why when the sunspots take place, it's a coronal ejection from the sun, and one of those shoots radiation in our direction. It'll be clear blue sky, but they know when we get hit by that, it hits our magnetic field and causes an ionization of the atmosphere and electrification of it, and so that causes the giant storms. So the main driver of climate is the sun. And I think everybody that would be a scientist to know, what's the main thing that Earth's living off of? The sun. The sun. And so they're telling us that carbon dioxide does this. What happens is carbon dioxide goes up. They said can be in the atmosphere for hundreds of years. It's normally absorbed by plants immediately, because they've got studies. They have found giant crocodile skeletons from just 10,000 years ago in the central Sahara, when hundreds of square miles is nothing but dunes. 10,000 years ago, it was lush jungles and beautiful, but they had goats, and they ate all of the plants and
there's also the Younger Dryas theory of asteroid impacts that they think ended the Ice Age.
12,000 years ago.
Yeah, 2 impacts. I believe there's 12, and then somewhere.
But the answer is we don't know. And so they've now looked at all these big models, saying that it's all carbon dioxide, and it's not. It's the sun, it's asteroids, it's tectonic, it's electromagnetic.
I understand all this, but isn't CO2 emissions the one thing that we can control? So human-created global warming gases like CO2 emissions, if we can put a cap on that, wouldn't you agree?
Let me ask you a question.
But if we continue to put that stuff in the atmosphere, and it continues to get higher and higher and higher levels of CO2 in the atmosphere, wouldn't
the studies show it's going to make deserts become green again, and plants are going to absorb the carbon.
What studies are these?
No. You look them up.
Okay, let's find out.
And that's why the left even says...
But if you're going to say something like that, and I'm not arguing with you, but if you are going to say something like that, that's a very bold thing to say. You should probably not just say look them up. There should be something...
let's type it in. There's hundreds of them. I actually brought like over 50 articles right here.
Do you have something that you've read that makes you so confident that you can say this?
I actually know what the plant studies show, where in greenhouses they grow plants with higher carbon dioxide, and plants can grow up to 3 times faster. They live longer.
Of course. Plants
Let's expand.
Carbon dioxide.
And what do they put out? More oxygen.
Well, this one thing that has been proven is that there's more plants now than there have been in a long time.
There's a global greening happening, countering us losing our atmosphere up until this point. The Earth has less atmosphere than it did 1 million years ago, and it's like God did this or something, where we discovered all this oil, or it's just blind luck that we are terraforming the planet back to an earlier, healthier state by taking ancient carbon that was under the ground and putting it back into the atmosphere.
But isn't the problem that along the way we're also increasing the temperature of the planet, and we are not aligned with a higher temperature?
Here's the history. We don't know. But in 1963, the Club of Rome came up with a limits to growth plan, and they had models and actuaries, and I have copies of this in my film Endgame. Seminal film is free online. Enabled for global enslavement, predicts a virus release to lock things down. Everything's now happening because it's in their own documents. And in the 1963 Limits to Growth Club of Rome plan, they said, we believe there'll be a global ice age by 2020, because the last ice age ended about 12,000 years ago, and we're set for that. We're going to tell the public that actually carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is bouncing solar radiation off the Earth, because we've seen volcanoes cause this darkening effect and freezing. So we believe, our scientists believe, that carbon dioxide is going to make the Earth freeze by 2020. And so we've got to have a global regime to take control of all the factories and all the energy, and put a tax in for global government in the name of stopping the ice age. Then by about 1987, they went, actually, we think it's going to heat up instead. So they flipped the propaganda. Ask anybody you know.
Okay, but don't you understand that science back then didn't have as much data as they have now? So their models and what they had predicted in 1963 is faulty compared to the information they have in 2000.
Yeah, just like Fauci said, 2.5 million would be dead from COVID. It was 200-some thousand.
But worldwide, what is it?
Worldwide, tuberculosis killed 20 million people, 1.4 million here last year, but nobody cares.
Yeah. Well, COVID killed a lot of people.
COVID's not even killed 1 million worldwide.
What?
Not even 1 million worldwide.
No, is that true?
Yep.
Come on.
Yep.
Well, how do we know?
Oh, we use UN models. Again, they're our boss. Since when did the WHO say the lockdown has to go on? Now they go, oh, we're against the lockdown. Your nation states that it's their fault because they know millions are starving to death from the lockdown.
That is true and very underreported.
Yeah.
That the WHO has now come out against lockdown, saying that the reaction can't be a worse effect than the actual disease
So
itself.
looking back, Alex, up with the climate change, it's like they're certainly, we are contributing to man-made global warming. But also, what are you going to do? What are we going to do?
I don't know.
I mean, that's the other question. It's like, what are we going to do?
Why does his mic sound weird? Is it he's hot? Is he on it, or is it how I'm hearing it? I'm hearing like a breakup of his mic.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds fine to me. Yeah.
That's weird. Okay, maybe I'm sorry. It must be me.
Jamie's really low. You sound great. He sounds good.
Yeah. Okay.
What is the climate control? Because that's very interesting. Like the idea of using climate to because as you said with COVID, and we talked about this, we give up a lot of rights, right, in the name of coronavirus.
Exactly. Look, there's real issues. We don't really know what's going on. They want to be able to track all carbon and tax it with a AI surveillance grid with a social credit score over it.
Yeah.
And they admit all of that. That's Joe. They tell us what they're going to do.
I understand that, but do you understand that the environmentalists who are concerned are not there's a giant amount of them that are legitimately concerned that we're ruining the earth.
Yes, I understand the greenhouse effect.
Fossil fuel.
I understand the greenhouse effect.
But these people, the reason
Start
why
your
they're
week
active,
by
the
installing
reason
your
why
game
they're
plan.
trying to get people on electric cars and trying to get people off the fossil fuels.
This is the player card. Here you can. This is your development trait.
Like,
Superstar.
I don't believe that these actual environmentalists.
Sure, I agree with you, but I mean, here's the deal. The new Hummer looks badass. Here's the deal. But I'm not getting one because I don't want to contribute to global warming.
You don't want to contribute to global warming?
Listen, be serious. Did you know that on average more carbon is spent for electricity into a car than 93 octane gasoline?
Well, I would believe that because I would think it takes a lot to make a fucking electric car. But once the car is made...
No. Transmission lines. You lose up to the half of transmission, and most of it's coal-powered, brother.
So most
per megawatt, it's more.
So when I'm plugging my Tesla in, and I think, because that's how I like to think, I'm a good guy. I'm plugging my Tesla in. I'm helping save the world. I'm not, because I'm contributing to power.
No, you're contributing to putting carbon dioxide back in and oxygen and re-terraforming the planet. You're doing a badass job. The biggest energy customers, electric cars, are badass. They are putting out more carbon than anybody. Yeah, they don't come out the tailpipe. They come out the power plant top. Woo! I love electric cars. Carbon. Yeah, Team Carbon.
Now we should just wake up. Look at me.
Okay, how do you feel about
We
nuclear
should
power?
wake up and just give him his nap
Why do you hate it?
around
Isn't it
noon
clean?
for sure.
94. Joe, I'm not trying to tear you up.
Think about
Don't
it.
tear
Or
me up. I don't know
earlier.
anything. I told you I'm a moron.
No. I used to be for nuclear power.
I'm playing the game. I'm not
I
saying.
actually did research.
What research did you do?
They're always saying it's totally clean, no problem. But then you can look at the UN's own numbers, which I believe, International Atomic Energy Agency. Look this up, CBS News. 94% of nuclear plants are leaking at dangerous levels. Look this up.
Pause. Jamie. 94% of nuclear power plants are leaking at dangerous levels. Isn't the problem that we're using old tech like Fukushima?
Now you see you're smart.
Yeah.
I'm not just, you always know everything, Joe. The average power plant age is 36 years. Almost all these power plants life is 20 to 35 years. Fukushima was already a decade older than it was supposed to be, a General Electric model using plutonium.
Radioactive leaks found at 75% of U.S. nuke sites.
Yeah, it's worse than that. It's 94%.
Okay, well that's not good.
I don't know why 94 doesn't pop up. That's the UN
But
report.
wouldn't it be possible with innovation that they currently have access to?
Yes.
Make
But
nuclear power
you talk about
plants?
corrupt companies. I don't. Listen, if people actually ran these right, and the executives. Here's an example. BP. I think oil's great. It has toxic problems. We should clean it up. We should find alternatives. There's all sorts of clean energy we should go to that isn't. Solar's great. Whatever. They've got fission, fusion, a bunch of stuff coming down. Take one of the best films out there because it's so accurate. Because I had lawyers on from I read the transcript of the trial. The Event Horizon with BP. They literally have all these degreed engineers out there, and BP calls them up from England to Houston and says, "You're spending $25 million a day on this super deep."
I love you. I can see how crazy my hair look on this shit. I mean, I've been pretty much twisting it all night. I've been drinking coffee, so caffeine.
Today, from Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin,